I know.
Fantastic.
I know. I'm great. I'm great. I'm feeling better than last week. Much better.
What happened last week?
I was PMSing.
Oh. So we're here today. We like really getting together and having this little goofy session, and I think you guys appreciate hearing both sides of like the guy's perspective and the gal's perspective on all these different things. And we have something really fun to talk to you about today and some stories to go along with it.
Yeah.
But we want to talk to you about like the number one mistake that we see a lot of our students and even ourselves struggling with whenever you're doing something with your business or simply with life in general. Before we dive into the stories, anything you want to say?
Yeah, we're going to cover the 4 do's and the 4 don'ts when it comes to this. I think a lot of people underestimate how important mindset is, but more than your time or your skills, mindset can hold you back the most, because you could have an entire day of free time. You could have all the skills in the world, but if your mind's not in it, you're going to waste that entire day. And that has happened to me multiple times.
Totally. So what we're talking about is like growing fast versus growing slow and taking things step by step in your journey.
Yeah.
And so I screwed up a little bit yesterday. I think it was yesterday. We've been getting really excited back into fitness. We've been being way more consistent with things. Look at those guns. That's all genetics. I'm so jealous. I don't get that type of definition from one bicep curl. But so we've been going through and we've been getting stronger and we've been getting more consistent. And then yesterday I was having a tweak in my back and I decided that maybe if I lifted even heavier, I could put things back into alignment. I could, force it through. I was trying to grow faster than my body was ready for it. And so I was doing my deadlifts and I put a little bit too much on the bar and I felt a little bit of a pop as I was coming down. And I felt that lightning bolt go up my spine where I knew I did a little bit of damage to myself.
Yeah.
And the whole thing with that was I wanted to grow faster. I've done this before. I've hurt myself doing this before, but I continue to push my limits a little bit faster than I'm ready for, and I pay the consequence. Now I'll be a week or so without getting back to that strength that I wanted to get to, and I did not serve myself in the process. So I came hobbling over to wifey and I said, I think I did it again.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. But it goes to show it's good to push yourself, but if you set those unrealistic expectations, if you push yourself beyond your limit, you're going to end up being disappointed. And I think all of us, we run into that. And do you want to start with the do's and don'ts?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
So one of the biggest don'ts that happens to beginning entrepreneurs or beginning bloggers is you compare yourself. Do not compare yourself to other people. It's good to kind of see what they're doing, see their awesome strategies and all that, and then go back to your own computer, to your own stuff, and then focus on your own things. The comparison game can really bring you down because there are always, and this is all parts of life. It's not just in blogging. It's in who's a better mom, who
Definitely.
is more fit, who has a bigger house, all of those nonsense stuff. Like the comparison game can really bring you down and just like steal your joy. So that's the number one tip that I have. One of my number one don'ts when you're starting out.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of foundational, and it's within everything else we're going to talk about is focusing a little bit on your own path forward. And to go along with that, even yesterday we talked about a challenge funnel, like the idea about challenging people to achieve something. And what I see a lot of people try to do is the next time they see a cool object that somebody else is doing, they're going to try to implement the exact same strategy. And that can be fantastic, and I think challenge funnel is a perfect one for anybody to get started with because it ticks all the boxes. You can watch that video from yesterday as well more about that one. But what can happen sometimes is people will see all the cool shiny objects. They'll see the advanced tactics, the advanced strategies. And they see, hey, it's working for this person who's been doing this for 10, 12 years. It must work for me as well. And they dive into these advanced strategies that they're just not ready for yet. It might be the technical skill to do it. It might be that confidence to pull off some of the strategies that other people are doing. And it's important to focus on where am I at right now? What are the strategies I should be mastering before you build up? Because these skills are like stairs on a ladder. Like you have to climb up the first step before you can jump up to the top of the staircase and just take it step by step.
Definitely. just like going too fast, too quickly, too advanced. Eventually you'll get there. But when I started my blog, I wasn't even thinking about funnels. I wasn't thinking about these big launches. I was just thinking about creating content. Okay, I'm creating content, I'm building a brand, I'm slowly building an email list. Like that's my beginning focuses. If you jump too fast to those amazing strategies that you will try eventually, you're gonna get like slow down. So it's okay. The number 3 don't is that it's okay to grow slow. It's good. We have to grow slow because you're setting up a good foundation. If people build your house too fast and they want to get to the roof, but they haven't laid the foundation yet, guys, we all know that analogy. Like the house is not going to work. So we have to grow slow and wait for the cement to cure and wait for the walls to come up and all that before you can get to the super fancy, awesome strategies. But eventually you will get there.
Yeah, and that's not to say that there aren't shortcuts and ways that you can accelerate your results. Like you absolutely can, and there's several things that we teach in the courses that can really help speed through. But the point is not to get discouraged as you're going down that journey. Yeah. Everybody progresses at their own pace. And if you were to progress faster, sometimes that could even be the most catastrophic thing. So, for example, like if you are just a beginner and you find a way to land on Forbes.com and you have this huge surge of traffic, you wouldn't even know what to do with it if you got it.
Yeah.
Right? Like you wouldn't even have this setup where you can capture them and you can have this conversion focused thing to make the most of that event.
It'd be more stressful because now you're like, what do I do with all this?
And also, for example, like live video. Like doing this right now, we have about 50 people or so watching, which is fantastic. But in the beginning, we would not be comfortable to speak and try to be concise and clear spoken with 50 people watching live. We needed those times when there was 0 people on the video. We needed those repetitions of making YouTube videos, just talking to ourselves essentially on the camera to build up those skills. So don't think that because you're starting and you don't have this huge following yet and you're not getting these huge page views that you're doing anything wrong. You're building up the skills internally before you can share those externally.
Definitely. Yeah, that was the unrealistic expectations, right?
I think so.
Okay. I think we covered a lot of don'ts. You want to go into do's?
Do it.
Okay.
Let's do it. See what I did there.
All right, which one do I want to like? All right, celebrate your little wins. So most of you might already know the story, but the first time I got a comment on one of my blog posts, we went out for tacos. We went out for dinner. I was so ecstatic that somebody somewhere over the world found my little blog and took the time to write a comment on what I wrote. I was just so excited. So we went out to dinner and we celebrated those small wins.
We had tacos.
Yeah, it was great.
It was great.
And then now when we have a big launch or we do something really awesome for our students, we might treat ourselves to a fancy dinner or maybe just take a day off and just celebrate that. But like understanding that even though your wins are small, they do matter and they are important. They don't have to be this $100,000-$200,000 launch. It can be a comment on your blog, and that really is meaningful.
Absolutely. I remember you were so excited because at that time in our journey, we had no idea what the blog would become. And I was happy simply because she was finding something to, put that passion into, and not like that, but
something to do.
No, not at all. You were extremely busy with the kid, but it was that
creative outlet.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. And so when you start to see some momentum, that was super exciting.
Yeah.
And similar to that is don't focus so much on those external results, like the comments and the page views and the sales and the commissions. Mm-hmm. These are all things that you don't really have direct control over, especially in the beginning, right? You can be doing all the right things, but the results just haven't come yet because maybe Google hasn't indexed your website yet, or maybe you just haven't built up that body of work yet to start to have that authority.
You normally give me the analogy of you're pulling back the bowstring.
Mm-hmm.
You want to explain that one? I like that one.
All right, I'll do that one. Let me change course here.
No, but it's like you're building the momentum, right?
Exactly. So what I like to think of it is all those glory metrics of the page views and the dollars, those are outputs, right? That's something that comes out of all the work that goes in. But sometimes you have to put a lot in to get there. And so what I like to do in the beginning is focus in on doing the right things. Like as Susan said, creating the content, being consistent, setting a time-blocked schedule and doing the most important tasks first. All that is building that potential energy, is pulling back the bowstring, and eventually something's going to happen. You might get discovered, you might get shared somewhere. It can release that bow or release that arrow. And if you don't have that energy built up, it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
But if you've been putting in that work and you've been building up that potential, when that event happens that releases the arrow, it can fly higher.
Get ready.
Yeah.
Golly. Okay, so another do is follow through on one thing, maybe two things. Set goals for the month, like one or two things, and this is what I'm going to focus on. Because you can easily get sidetracked. You can easily fall into that comparison game that we talked about. You see another shiny object, you're like, ooh, I want to do that. And then you forget about the things that you were working on. And then you do everything just like 10%. And you're not going to get anywhere because nothing is complete. So it's like, I'm halfway making a sandwich, I'm halfway making coffee, I'm halfway changing a diaper. That's going to be a big mess if I leave everything halfway.
I do that sometimes.
So
I don't want to put that diaper in the trash yet.
Take one thing and complete it, and then feel like, okay, I accomplished it. Because it's really fun to start something. It's really exciting to get the beginnings of it, and then to follow through is kind of where it gets weary, and you're like, I don't want to do it. But we have to follow through and not just complete, like totally start things all the time, because then we're not going to grow.
Totally. And the effort doesn't pay off until the task is done.
There you go. I like that.
Just made it up on the spot.
Good quote.
But pushing through, you get to that messy middle, right? Like the beginning is awesome and the ending seems glamorous, but then that messy middle of actually like pushing through, that's when all the endorphins of starting a new thing wear off, and now it's time for your constitution. It's time for your strength and your internal fire to actually push through that beyond that initial like dopamine hit of getting something new started.
Oh,
So
I like that. That's so true.
That is the challenge.
Yeah, it's a good one. That's worth it. This whole video is worth it for that.
So one thing about that, and a story. So I recently completed a 6-week coaching program where I was helping people get started with launching a sales funnel. And a lot of them did an incredible job. But there were some students that wanted to dive too deep into the advanced pool. And we're talking about like growing slow and like finding that skill set that's where you're at right now. And I'm a firm believer in paid advertising and the ability, if you have a message, if you have something that's ready to sell or an affiliate that you can promote, then I do think there's a lot of opportunity if you do it the right way. And I see some people try to dive straight into launching an ad and trying to sell a $100 program on the very next page. And it can work. We're able to make some of those offers work, but they're very advanced. So when I see these students, I tell them, hey, the exact thing we talked about in this video of like, take it at your own pace. And there is a strategy if you are a beginner, but you have something to sell and you're looking to grow your list and do it in a way that's beginner friendly. You can start with $1 a day and see how it all works and build that muscle up. We are doing a live workshop. Muscle. You flexing? We're doing a live workshop in about a week. We're calling it Simple Profitable Ads. The goal of it is to launch your first campaign, your first Facebook ads campaign for like $1 a day. Very slow, very achievable. You don't need to have this big ad budget for it, but to get to where all the efforts you're putting into your brand and your blog and all of that can pay off, and you can start to see that return and build that skill set in a beginner friendly way. Okay, so I'll be walking you through. I do all of our ads on the blog, and Susie will be there as well to kind of provide some of that feedback as well. But it'll be live. It's $37 right now, and would love to have you in there if you think that ads is right for you. And it's not right for everybody. Not everybody needs the paid traffic, but if you feel like you are working, you're getting some page views, but you're not getting them onto your email list yet, you're not seeing the results yet, some of the strategies we'll talk about in the workshop will be useful for that goal.
Awesome. A link below?
Yeah, should be a link below, and it's ultimatefunneltoolkit.com/retarget.
Super cool. All right.
Yeah.
I like that.
Sweet.
I love live workshops, so you guys can ask questions and get your feedback right there on the spot. All right, so let's go into some questions that you guys have. Yeah. Why you gotta call me out like this? Riley, that's very funny. Yes, we can't do a million things. Well, pick one or two things and be okay with that. It's okay to grow slow. Like, give yourself some grace. I don't know. I feel like we're so hard on ourselves. We have to do everything and everything has to be perfect. Just do one or two things really well and you're going to be fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
2 days in a row.
The Keto Goddess says 2 days in a row. If you guys like this, let us know in the comments if you like us coming and being both on screen, and if you'd like us to make this a bit more of a routine, something we're kicking around.
We're trying our best.
We enjoy it a lot. Yelena says that she wishes she found us before you signed up for all the courses and communities that were all going big in 3 months. Awesome.
Can I really retire my hubby? Yes, you can. With consistent hard work, yes. I don't work as hard as I used to on the blog, just to be completely honest with you guys. There's momentum build up, there's a brand build up, the products are created. Now it's very much just keeping the ship going that I've already built. But it takes a lot of time to build that ship and build that momentum and let it go. Or you don't really let it go, like I'm still on it and working on it, but I don't have to create all the products. I update them, I support my students. In the beginning, yes, it's a lot of work, but then eventually it's not always that much work. And then you just get into the maintenance. Maintenance.
Yeah.
Yes.
And every industry is different. It depends. Do you want to build a passive business? Do you want to build an active business? I love the passive side. I also really like working with people, and that's just part of my DNA. And so I always see some form of coaching, some form of working with clients as part of it. And if you go the passive route, it takes a while for that income to grow, but it can exponentially grow because there's no limit on it. On the client side, you can get up to a full-time income faster, but it also tops out a little bit sooner. So it's really just a choice in how you go from there.
Thank you, Shanice.
Yeah. There was a question here.
Thanks, Mandy.
Tiffany asked, do you recommend going LLC? If so, when and how? The first answer to that, do we recommend going LLC? First and foremost, we are not tax professionals. Consult your tax professional. We'll give you our opinion. I do recommend the LLC because I like separating personal assets from the business assets. Long story short, you can Google all this. If you are a sole proprietor, or if you just start blogging, and if you make the wrong person angry, which this doesn't happen all that often, but if you happen to get into a lawsuit or find yourself in any problem like that, there's no separation between your business and you, and so it's all in the same pile, right? LLCs separate, limited liability, so you're only responsible for what's in the business account. So we do recommend that, and then as far as when we recommend doing that, my advice is just whenever you decide to take your business like a business. Like if you're making that mental transition of I'm doing this, then start your LLC. It takes a few minutes and you can have it set up. If you're still in the hobby blog mode, that's totally cool. When you're ready to make that transition, I would go LLC.
I like that. All right, what questions? Do you focus on Pinterest or SEOs first? Growing so slow because I'm balancing the toddler and my master's program, but I'm definitely prioritizing the blog. All right, so what I would do is, SEO takes a time to build, or it takes a while, but I would focus on creating great content. And in turn, that is going to be focusing on SEO. So if you create amazing content that answers all the questions that the users have, and other people, if the content's so good, other people will automatically or naturally link back to it, and it will rank better. So if there's tons of SEO strategies, but if you just focus on creating the best piece of content to answer that question, then it's going to naturally rank. That's pretty much what Google wants, right? It wants to show the best piece of content with the best videos and tips and authority for that specific problem. So I would create really good content and then do a couple pin images. My Pinterest strategy is not as intense as it could be. I create new pins for my best blog posts every now and then, and I pin them to Pinterest and onto relevant boards. So if you would pick one, I would do SEO because it's easy to create Pinterest images. And then if your content's really great, then it's okay if your Pinterest image is not that fantastic. Your content makes up for how amazing it is. People can go back, oh yeah, I still want to repin that because the pin image looked kind of weird, but at least the content was fantastic, so I want to save it. So I would focus on really, really great content, primarily.
Totally. I definitely agree with that. And I saw Kellen's here. Hey, Kellen, how's it going, buddy? Good to see you on.
They just had their second baby.
Congratulations, guys. Get ready for the madness to begin.
Oh, it doesn't begin with until number 3.
Yeah.
Did you want to share something?
I did. I was going to find a link here because Aloha says that you're familiar with Elementor. Can you use that for landing pages and funnels instead of another program? Trying to keep costs down, but have a good system set up for digital downloads. Thank you. Totally. I have a video. I did one recently that shows how you could set it all up using free tools. In that video, I also kind of give some disclaimers that you can start going with the free tools, but you might get to that point where you're like, hey, it's time to upgrade. And so I kind of talk you through that. But if you are trying to be extremely budget conscious, I'll put a link in the comment section here, I think, if I can figure that out. Yeah. And I can show you that as well while you want to take one more.
Awesome. The Unpopular Mom says, do you have tutorials on how to do the teachables and launching the program? Yes, definitely. Coursebynumber.com or just Course by Number, Google it. That will show you exactly how I launch and create my courses. You can see the testimonials from my other students that have launches up to $20,000. Like, they've done fantastic with launching their own courses. And again, like we said before, that's one of the advanced strategies. So if you're just beginning, that might not be where you are, but if you've been following us for a while and you have your products up and you're ready to create your first course, go to coursebynumber.com.
Awesome. Charles, how's it going, buddy? Asks, what if I still don't have a focused niche? I'm blogging with an idea, but not a niche. We might have like our own answers for this one. I think that your niche, you don't necessarily know what your niche is from your first blog post. Like, you can start out with an idea, especially if it's your first time launching a blog. Allow yourself to learn about yourself through the process. I don't think you have to have all the answers in the beginning. It will be growing, it will be dynamic, and you will develop over time. What I would ask of you is stick to a consistent schedule, like create that content, and then be responsive when you get feedback. Like, so as you're getting feedback, it'll help you kind of crystallize what direction is working, which one's not. Ultimately, like, it's gonna sound weird. Like, it's not about you. Like, it's about your audience. So you can start talking through, and if you like topic A, but your audience doesn't care for it, and they're starting to gravitate more towards topic B, that might be where you can have the most success, as long as it like aligns with your goals and whatnot as well. So if you have a passion, start blogging on it, but be receptive to your own growth and what you hear from your audience.
Yeah, I agree.
You say that.
Focus on a problem that you can solve. That's where, if you eventually want to start monetizing it, that's where people spend money. They spend money to solve problems. So think about, what problem are you solving and who are you helping? It could be one audience with the problem that a lot of people have, but you niche down to that specific audience. So maybe everybody has time management issues, right? But we're just going to talk to homeschooling moms. So that's a way that you can actually niche down from time management and just talk to that one segment of an audience. So maybe that's something that you can look into. You want to do one or two more?
Sure. Unpopular Mom, I think you were following up on the store setup. There is, inside of Printables by Number, I do a very deep dive on setting up a WooCommerce store, which is a free alternative to things like Teachable and other ways to sell digital products. So that is definitely a great way to go. WooCommerce, I think I saw a recent statistic, is powering about 35 to 40% of all online stores. So it is very well supported. And then Happy says, is Webflow Builder good for bloggers over Elementor or Divi? So for those of you who don't know, Webflow is basically like a competitor to WordPress. And I played with a trial. It's a whole new skill set that I have not taken the time to learn. I've heard good things about it, but I do know that Google likes WordPress, like from the perspective of indexing content and organizing it all. I don't know if Webflow is there, but also I know Webflow is a little bit pricey to get started. So it's not what we recommend, but I don't really know as much about it.
Jim says we're better than TV. Thank you, Jim.
Awesome. Do you guys like? I think the side by side works pretty well.
Yeah, and we try to bring you good news and happy news and nothing negative.
I am on a news fast. I am just gonna let the news do whatever they want to do over there.
We just put on blinders and just focus on our little family and our students, and we're good. We're happy. Good. All good? Did you see any at the top, or was it just all highs? Highs.
Let's do a quick check. With you in the course, is Teachable easier? Oh, is Teachable easier? Yes.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes. WooCommerce is free with your money. It's going to cost you a little bit in your time and your technical support, because with Teachable, if something does go wrong, you have an entire company to support you.
Yeah.
So that is the trade-off that you're making. And I try to explain that in the course, is that if you take it all on yourself to do the WordPress thing and build your own store and do all that, the support is largely going to fall on you as well. So it's doable if you keep things simple, but if you're not the type of person to want to figure out why this one thing's not working quite right, it's nice to have a software company at your back.
Cool. All right, so Tiffany's talking about oil painting and that it takes her a while to paint something. So just, where's my phone? Is my phone here? Is that my phone? Where's my phone? Here's my phone. Like four different phones laying here. So my mom's painting something while you guys are here.
Nice.
And she first does it with acrylic, and now she's going to go over it with oil paint because she feels like she can go back and fix her mistakes and so on. So I took a picture of it. I'd love to share it with you guys. She'll be so proud. Here you go. So I think you guys can see that. So how do you make it?
Yeah, get
there you go.
There.
There you go. So that's the oil paint. Well, first acrylic, and now she's going over it with oil painting. And it's probably like 6 feet tall. So it's really big. So I'm very proud of her. So, sorry, somebody said oil painting. I just want to relate.
It's fantastic. And Jones was asking, which course was I talking about with setting up the store? That's in Printables by Number, because the whole goal of that course is to help you create and sell digital products. Great.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Hope you enjoyed this. Final call to action. If you are interested in the world of advertising, I'm getting you started super easy, super simply with the ultimatefunneltoolkit.com/retarget. And we're going live in about a week for that. So I'm putting together all the content. It's going to be great.
That's going to be super cool.
Cool.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks
care.
for being here.